हेलो गाइस एंड वेलकम टू द चैनल कंपनी इंसाइडर। आज हमारे साथ हर्षित हैं एंड हर्षित ने अभी रिसेंटली ZS और PWC दोनों ही क्रैक किया। तो आज हम हर्षित से जानेंगे कि हाउ वाज इंटरव्यू एक्सपीरियंस और किस तरीके को क्वेश्चंस पूछे जाते हैं। और सबसे पहले तो हर्षित थोड़ा बहुत अपने बारे में बताइए कि विच कॉलेज आर यू फ्रॉम और आपकी ब्रांच कौन सी है।
So, hi everyone, my name is Harshit and I'm from BIT Chennai. I've done my BTech in Electronics and Communication Engineering from there, and I've been placed in ZS Associates and PWC. And in ZS Associates, I've been given the role of a Business Operations Associate,
Okay.
and that's it. I'm a final year student.
Yeah. So Harshit, these were on-campus placements.
Ah, yeah, these are completely on campus.
Okay. So which company came first, ZS or PWC?
Uh, ZS came first. It came on 1st September, and
Okay.
PWC came later. But the results of ZS came after PWC.
Okay. Got
So
it.
the process was a lengthy one. But
Right.
yeah,
Right. So for
yeah.
ZS, so what was the first round? So what did they conduct in their first round?
So the round started with a basic aptitude.
Okay,
See, the ZS came and it gave us the registration. Around 3,300 people registered for it.
okay.
And in the first round, what they generally do is they give you a 12-hour window,
Mm-hmm.
say from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. the next day.
Okay,
What you're supposed to do is take their test. Now the test is total 3 rounds for this particular window. It starts with the first round being the aptitude. You're
right,
going to get the general maths, English, DI, LR, everything.
right.
So that's one thing. So the first round was, yeah, as I mentioned, aptitude. Now in that there were a lot of questions from quants,
Okay,
from DI, LR, a lot of DI, LR, but the questions were doable. I have to
mm-hmm.
say that it wasn't a very high level. It was just a
Got
normal
it.
level. Then the English was very easy. English is just the general English we talk in and everything. So
Yeah,
the English was easy. Only the quants I would say was a bit tricky at some point, few questions. Otherwise, it was a very doable, part. It was easy to do.
yeah, got it. So Ashit, how did you prepare for aptitude, like for all companies and for ZS? From where, which resources you choose to prepare for this aptitude?
See, for aptitude, I think most of people have mentioned India Bix. It's
Yeah,
like the best website for it. Other than that, I've also been preparing for GRE, so I think
okay,
that helped me a lot. So if you're preparing for any competitive exam and everything, you'll be good to go. The level is lesser than that only.
right, right.
So I think India would be fine. I think that will be fine.
Got it. This was aptitude round, and just after
Yeah.
aptitude, there was another round, or there is a
Yeah.
time interval of gap between.
No, no, no. It's just like once you complete the round, you immediately get the results that if
Okay,
you are passed, then you will be given a option for next, for
okay,
moving on to the next round. If you're not passed, then they'll just say that the test is being completed. You can leave now. So
okay. Got
that's
it.
so immediately after that, there was a round called PSDD, that
Okay,
is problem solving deep dive. Now, problem solving deep dive is nothing, but they'll give you a general case study.
mm-hmm.
They'll give you a very small case study. I'll say like max 1 or 2 paragraphs,
Okay,
and they'll ask 8 questions on them. Now, those 8 questions has to be completed within half an hour,
mm-hmm.
and they were all theoretical based, no quants at all. Now, the questions were again very straightforward.
Yeah,
If you just put the general idea of it, like I don't think many people get rejected in this round as well
mm-hmm.
because you'll just get a normal idea.
Yeah.
There is a situation. There is one correct way of doing it. There are many correct way of doing it, but one is the best one. You just have to select the best one. If you go
Right.
with it, that's done with it. So like 8 questions, 30 minutes, easy. I think people can do it.
Got it. So it's
But
like a mini case
that's
study type of situation will be given,
yeah,
and you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to answer the questions, 8 MCQ questions.
Yeah, say for example, there's a company XYZ. It
Mm-hmm.
has to enter a new location, a new
Mm-hmm.
market.
Got it.
Then there'll be a question like, should it do a merger with a local company over there,
Mm.
or should it go by any other chance? How should be the advertisement be done and everything.
Right.
General idea question that can be done, I guess.
Got it. So this was just after the aptitude round.
Video round.
Okay, and
And
following this PSDD round, what was there?
following this was a video interview. Now,
Okay.
again, the same thing. If you're selected, then you'll get a next option or you'll be taken out.
Yeah.
Now, the video interview round was, immediately after it. And as I said, all these 3 rounds has to be completed in the 12-hour interval.
Hmm.
Now, in the video interview round, I got two questions. One was
Okay.
HR and one was a guesstimate. You would have heard about
Yeah, yeah,
guesstimates.
yeah.
Yeah, so ZS is all about guesstimates, I have to say. So,
Yeah.
uh,
In every
for
round they
that,
ask guesstimates.
yeah, guesstimates is very important for
Yeah.
it. So, in that, I got the generic ZS question. A lot of people have got how to paint a 10 into 10 meter wall.
Yeah.
So that guesstimates a lot of people have got it, and I too got the same.
Okay.
What happens in that is you will be given 10 seconds to
Mm-hmm.
the questions will be displayed on the screen. The
Mm-hmm.
camera will be on, and you'll be given 10 seconds to prepare.
Mm-hmm.
And after 10 seconds, the recording starts for 3 minutes.
Okay.
Now you have to think about what you're going to speak in that 10 minutes and speak like for continuously 3 minutes continuously. So that's the
Okay.
general thing. So two questions, one HR and one guesstimate or one puzzle, maybe anything like that.
Okay.
So the guesstimate question, as I mentioned, was the paint one, and the HR question was a general question that how do you deal with a lot of data being given to you, and how do you like if you are overwhelmed with data, what kind of procedure do you follow?
Okay.
So this was the video interview round, and what I feel is maximum people get eliminated in this round
Mm.
because, as I mentioned, 3,300 people applied, and out of them, only 110 got shortlisted.
Oh,
So I
okay.
think the ratio is pretty
Yeah,
scary.
yeah, yeah.
But
Mm.
this round, I have to mention this that I confirmed it in the pre-placement talk. It's
Mm.
a completely AI-based round. You
Okay.
have to, the AI is going to judge you. There's no human involvement, as
Okay.
as
Okay.
such.
Okay.
So you have to speak in that way. Your fluency, grammar, your flow,
Right.
and how many times do you repeat the same sentence is going to be judged. So you
Right.
have to keep in mind all of these things to move on to the next
Yeah. So there are no person sitting behind the computer to
one.
check your video round. It's all AI basically.
Exactly. It's
Yeah.
all AI, completely AI.
So there were total three questions, I think, 2 to 3 questions in this video
Totally
round.
two questions in a video interview.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, got it. So once you cleared this whole 3 rounds, then I think you will be
Yeah.
given a case study round, a big case study.
Yeah, after I guess around 5 days, we were
Okay,
called for the case study round.
okay,
The case study round is again, you'll be given a briefing. You'll be given a brief about the case study in a Zoom call. That
okay,
okay, this is the XYZ case study. This is the situation wherein you have to work. So you have to understand that case study. And now, in this case study, the main factor would be time management
hmm,
because there are four sections with subsections as well.
hmm,
So in those two, around among the four, there were two quantitative and two qualitative.
right,
So in quantitative, there's a lot of calculation being involved, and you have to be very thorough with your data interpretation skills because
hmm,
that is the one thing which is going to get to the next round. So I think if you are good with data interpretation, you understand the question. That's enough. So
yeah,
if I have to describe the process, it's half an hour briefing session. Then post half an hour, you will be given the time of 1 hour to
hmm,
actually do the complete case study, write it on a paper,
got it,
and upload it. Upload it on the same platform, Talview, which
yeah,
they conduct the process, and upload it and wait for a while. Now, this is not an elimination round currently. Now,
okay,
after this, you will have to give an interview.
hmm,
So now the interviewer will present what you have written in the paper, and you have to explain to him what was your thought process in this and everything.
right,
In that interview, this is again the elimination round for this case study. So they are going to look at your approach. It's not
hmm,
about your calculation. Even if you have done, I did a calculation mistake in that,
hmm,
and it was ignored. They what they want is your approach, how you're thinking of the problem.
got it,
So it will be a basic general question. You don't have to think from a higher perspective. Just you hit the spot, you'll get it right. So that was the case with me.
yeah, yeah,
I gave the interview, and I think the approach was very he liked my approach, and that's why that's one part of it. And other than that, in that interview itself, he's also going to ask you some puzzles,
hmm,
say puzzles from Geeks for Geeks,
right,
or
right,
any random puzzle you can expect. So these are the two things which are being asked in this case study interview round.
got it. So हर्षित, like जो ये केस स्टडी इंटरव्यू राउंड था, तो इसके लिए बेसिकली समवन हैज टू प्रिपेयर फॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ इंटरव्यूज, दिस काइंड ऑफ राउंड्स, और लाइक मैं ऐसे भी अगर मेरे को जनरल चीज़ें पता है तो मैं जा सकता हूँ, or should I be well prepared for this type of case study round? Should I solve some problems before the case study round? And if I should practice, then from where can I practice like this kind of problems?
Okay, so I think case study round mein, if you go in without any preparation, that's also fine
Yeah.
because you don't have a very complex, a ZS specific
Hmm.
thing you have to prepare. It's just general DI questions. If you are good with your data interpretation skills, I
Hmm.
think anyone can clear it.
Got
But
it.
at the same time, you'll have to have a general knowledge about business decisions to be taken,
Hmm.
like what should the company do, because there are two qualitative questions as well. So for
Got it.
that you just have, if you have the general idea about how should a company approach for a particular thing, I think that's no preparation is required.
Yeah.
But if as such you want to prepare, there are sites for McKinsey and Bain which
Hmm.
actually provides you with various case studies with be it MCQ or qualitative.
Yeah.
So I personally prepared from them, so I think that will be helpful for you.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So look, the puzzles also we can prepare from Geeks for Geeks and various other platforms, right? It's
Yeah,
all available in the
puzzles.
net.
Yeah, puzzles. I would say that Geeks for Geeks would be enough because
Yeah.
I got a puzzle from Geeks for Geeks.
Hmm.
Two of my friends got from Geeks for Geeks.
Okay.
So I think they use the bank itself. So I think that will
Yeah.
be enough.
So in this interview, there were no guesstimates.
In this interview, there were no guesstimates.
Okay, fine.
For like me and few of my friends, they may ask
Yeah, yeah.
guesstimates. So that's possible. Puzzles and guesstimates are something they can
Okay.
ask anything.
So again, for guesstimates, how should one prepare and from where one can prepare for guesstimate type kinds of question? Yeah.
I think guesstimates, there's a lot of resources available on the internet.
Yeah.
If you just, there are and you also have to look for ZS specific guesstimates
Hmm.
because they ask a lot of airplane questions and
Hmm.
sometimes they repeat it too.
Yeah, most
So
of the
I
times.
think, yeah, yeah. So they use a bank. I think I
Yeah, yeah,
have figured it out. They use a common bank and they ask from that only.
yeah.
So I think from the internet, YouTube videos would be enough. You just have to get to know that what should be the procedure
Yeah,
of
how to
actually
approach.
attempting. Yeah, yeah, how to approach the problem, calculations and everything. They
Hmm.
actually, for my guesstimate, no one asked me any number. Just my approach was asked,
Okay.
and that's it. So I think you just have to, watch a few videos and get to know about how to approach, how to look at every problem, what are the different kinds of problems. Then I think it's up to you. Then how
Yeah,
you think about in that particular situation. That's up to you.
got it, got it. So once this case study round is over, interview is over, so I think then there will be a final interview or HR interview, we can say.
Yeah, yeah. It's called evidence-based interview. It's final interview,
Yeah.
and in this interview, you will be asked about your projects. Resume probing question.
Yeah,
If
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to, so you have to be very thorough with your resume. Every single word I have to say, you
Hmm.
have to be very thorough, especially your projects and internships.
Yeah.
They are not going to, let me clear it that they're not going to ask you what language did you use and what kind of things that you did, because it's of course a profile which involves, business operations
Hmm.
mindset.
Right.
What they are going to ask is, suppose I did a project XYZ, what could be the application other than that, other than which I have used, right?
Okay.
Suppose I
Okay.
use
Okay.
it for a application, what other place I can apply it to? Such theoretical kind of, wherein you have to think about that particular situation there
Got
itself.
it.
So no technical questions, just, you have to be thorough and be prepared with some alternative applications for your project.
Hmm. Right.
So I
Right.
think that was one thing. And other than that, they'll definitely ask one guesstimate. And I was asked one puzzle, one guesstimates, and about my project.
Okay.
So the puzzle again was from Geeks for Geeks. That was a direct question.
Right.
And the guesstimate which was being asked to me was a unique one. I actually didn't hear it before, but
Which one?
later I found out that it was again from internet. So just go through all the guesstimates on the internet. You'll get a known question.
Which was the guesstimate
So,
you were asked?
so I was asked that, say, suppose the CEO of Johnson's and Johnson's come to me and ask about the number of diapers that should be manufactured in 1 year
Oh, okay.
to satisfy the population of India.
Yeah, yeah.
So this was the guesstimate, and it was a very interesting one.
Hmm.
So I started solving it from my perspective, asking him, clarifying questions,
Yeah, yeah.
what should be XYZ and everything. So once I was clear about the question, I went it on my approach, and I simply explained him the first, yeah. So this is what I'm going to do. This is my approach. now I'll start my calculation. And the moment I said that I'll start my calculation, he said, yeah, that's not required. All he wanted to know was my approach.
Approach,
So I
yeah.
think even if your calculation is, up and down, it's kind of okay. The way you think about the problem is what matters.
Got it.
So that was the guesstimate.
Yeah, so were there any HR-based questions also? General HR-based questions?
I particularly didn't get any, but my friends did get one.
Okay.
A few behavioral question, like
Hmm.
what would you do in this situation when your manager is like XYZ.
Hmm.
So again, prepare for that. And almost all of my friends got questions about ZS. What do you know about
Yeah.
ZS? So, learn about the history, and that shows that you're actually interested. You're actually
Hmm.
invested in ZS. To get to know them. So I think that's important.
Got it.
So yeah, these are all the questions that can be asked. Other than that, I don't think should
Right,
have
right.
been asked.
So did they, I think they don't ask any technical questions like from your particular branch.
No, no, no. From electronics, I wasn't asked anything. They may ask that why do you want to go for, you want to change to consultancy and not
Hmm.
go
Right.
for core. But no, nothing technical, no coding questions for my profile at least. For
Got it.
BTSA, they are going to ask you, of course,
Hmm.
based on SQL, maybe C++. Even in the aptitude, they ask for BTSA. So
Okay.
for that profile, if you're preparing, then you have to be good with that. But if you're preparing for the other two profiles, which is BAA or BOA,
Hmm.
then no coding questions at all.
Got it. So out of the total number of students applied, how many got selected from your college?
I think the total who applied was 3,300, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
The number of students selected were, I guess, 35, around 35.
Okay, okay, okay. So
Yeah.
pretty good.
So yeah, the ratio is nice.
College is
So
also nice.
yeah.
Right,
So
right.
yeah, if you are preparing for it, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So once that CS is over, then came PWC, right?
Yeah. Then came PWC.
Okay.
So starting it again started with the aptitude
Hmm.
questions. Now I have to mention that ZS had a very lengthy process.
Hmm. Right.
It took in total exactly 2 months to actually give me my results.
On
It
campus,
came
it
on
took 2 months.
yeah.
Okay.
So like it came on 1st September. 1st October is when I gave my final interview after
Yeah.
1 month, and 1st November is when I got my result.
Okay.
So it's like a very, I had a bad luck because they didn't have, panelists. For other roles, it
Okay.
was like 10 to 15 days, but we took like 2 months.
Yeah, yeah.
So within that, PWC came in, and the first was the aptitude round.
Yeah.
Again, the aptitude round, I have to say that it's very basic.
Hmm.
For ZS, you may have to even prepare, but PWC was, a level lower than ZS. It
Okay.
was pretty easier than ZS. So if you are okay with the fundamentals, I think PWC would be very
Right, right.
easy. It was compared to ZS, I'm telling.
Hmm.
So it was a easier aptitude test. I think around 2,000 people applied for PWC, and
Hmm.
after the aptitude, I guess 300 people got shortlisted for interviews.
Okay. So aptitude is basically general quants, verbal, logical reasoning, all those types of
Yeah,
questions.
the same quants verbal, logical reasoning, maybe one DILR.
Got it.
That's it.
So PWC,
Yeah.
what was the profile they were offering?
They offered technology consultant and
Okay.
cybersecurity consultant.
Okay.
I got the offer for cybersecurity.
Okay, got it. So once this
Yeah.
aptitude round is over, then the second round was
Then came the interview round. So like
directly
they
interview.
decided. Yeah, directly
Yeah.
interview. So 300 people. I don't know how they came up with this, but they thought
Yeah.
of taking interviews for 300 people in one single day,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
that took three interviews for each person. So that's a very so like it started at 8 in the morning and got over at 10 in the night. It's like
Okay.
continuous 14 hours. So it was a very. I was lucky that I finished it within 2 hours. So
Okay.
it started with total three rounds. So first was the technical interview,
Hmm.
then comes the partner interview, and
Hmm.
finally the HR interview.
Got it.
So starting with the technical interview, it's nothing but they are going to ask you a few questions on your project. Not even questions; they'll just ask you what projects did you do,
Hmm.
and what do you understand by cybersecurity. So I think coming to cybersecurity, nothing very deep about cybersecurity was being asked
Hmm.
from me. It's just what do you understand by it? What is it?
Yeah.
Just the
General things.
basic questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, general questions. Nothing as such very so that was the first technical round,
Hmm.
projects and what do you know general about. So each interview was 15 minutes, so they couldn't actually ask a lot of questions as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So I immediately got the results for technical interview, and then was the partner interview.
So
Now,
it was like
partner interview
continuous?
was, yeah, continuous. Like it's they create a meeting on Meet,
Hmm.
and once you're done, you'll be called on for the next round. So maybe you can get the call for the next round immediately, or maybe after 5 hours. So
Okay.
it totally depends, on the availability. Luckily for me, I got immediately.
Hmm.
So the partner round was kind of more intimidating than the technical round because you're actually sitting in front of a partner,
Yeah.
and there's a very serious situation because he's such a high position, and it was a very intimidating round. He again asked me about my projects, what did I
Okay.
do, and what kind of languages do I know. I don't know why, but yeah, languages. And
Yeah.
and I mentioned everything electronics, and somehow he was okay with it.
Right, right.
And he asked me a lot of say you have to know about the job description. He
Hmm.
asked a lot of questions about JD, what exactly does cybersecurity does,
Hmm. Hmm.
and consultant does, and everything. So you have to be very thorough with the JD, getting to know everything. So that's very important. So in this round, I guess most of the part was about JD itself, because
Okay.
he was asking what are you expected to do. He was telling me, and he was asking what do you understand and
Hmm.
everything. So you have to be very thorough with the JD, and again projects. So that was it. Again 15 minutes, so he couldn't ask a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So that was again a very short interview. And then finally was the HR interview. I
Yeah.
think HR interview was kind of a formality
Hmm.
because it was more of a question wherein he just asked me about what my native place and my languages, and he
Yeah.
was just noting it down. So it kind of felt like a formality.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And he asked me about the leadership positions which I have held in VIT
Hmm.
throughout my college. He again noted it down. So I think he was like noting everything down, whatever important stuffs
Yeah.
were. And again, he asked me about my project. So, they'll ask about your projects in all of the three rounds. So,
Got it.
be thorough about it. And HR then ended with, yeah, that's it. I think
That's it.
he just asked, it was more of a conversation, so nothing much.
Okay, okay. So I think both the interviews were quite general. No specific technical things are required
Yeah, yeah,
for the interviews or for the test. Aptitude was
yeah,
also
yeah.
quite moderate and easy level.
It
Yeah,
was
so
moderate, yeah.
I think your common sense should be good for this type of companies, and your
Yeah,
knowledge
yeah,
acumen should be good. Like you should know understand some business
yeah.
terms to solve the PSDD rounds and all.
Yeah, yeah,
Got
exactly.
it.
If you're even another important thing is your communication skills. I
Yeah,
think if you are for consultancy, it's kind of a prerequisite. You
yeah,
have to
yeah.
be very good at it. Not even good at it. You have to be moderate at it, so at least
Hmm.
you can present your ideas in
Hmm.
a proper way that the person understands. So working on communication skills is, I think, a must.
Yeah, got it. Sort of these two companies, आपको कौन सा easy लगा as compared to the another one, the whole process?
I think definitely PWC
SSC.
was easier in terms of stress, again, stress may be PWC easier because ZS took 2 months, PWC
Yeah,
was
yeah,
two
yeah.
days. So I think the process was easier for PWC, and
Hmm.
the questions too were easier for PWC.
Got it.
ZS won in both the cases.
Right, right, right. So have you decided which offer you are going to take?
See, I think there's like bracket in our college,
Okay.
Dream and Super Dream. So
Oh yeah,
PWC is a
yeah,
dream company, yeah, and ZS is a Super Dream. So I have to go for ZS,
yeah, yeah,
even if
yeah.
I have.
You don't have any options.
Yeah, I don't have. So
Okay.
it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah, as you
ZS is something which I always wanted to. I was always preparing for this company, so I think it's fine that I got
so
it.
did you have in mind that you have to go for consultancy before sitting for placements?
Yeah, yeah. I think from the starting itself, I wasn't much of a
Okay.
coder. I wasn't like my basics even were quite normal.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think coding software wasn't my thing from the starting. I had decided it, and there aren't much opportunities for you if you're from a core branch electronics.
Hmm.
There aren't many companies coming for placement.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but keeping these two things aside, consultancy actually, I was interested in it. I was
Hmm.
looking forward to it, and companies like this. So my preparation was, completely based on these only. So I think consultancy I was preparing for.
Yeah, yeah. Got it. ओके हर्षित, थैंक यू
Yeah,
फॉर शेयरिंग योर एक्सपीरियंस और काफ़ी कुछ
yeah,
PWC और ZS दोनों के बारे में सीखने को मिला कि कौन कौन से राउंड्स होते हैं, कैसे प्रिपेयर करना चाहिए. सो थैंक यू फॉर शेयरिंग
yes.
ऑल योर एक्सपीरियंसेस एंड ऑल योर learnings.
Okay, okay. Thank you, Suhash. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to sit in this room.
Okay, Harshit, bye. Take care.
Bye.
I fell for you.